What's up, my little napkins? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're looking at 2 stories from r/IDontWorkHereLady and 1 story from r/malicious compliance. Let's get right into it. Tell me to hide period products in order to not offend male coworkers? Consider it done. And this story comes from the user Dr. MedBayB. Background: I work in a fast-paced healthcare environment where every minute counts, and I have both male and female coworkers on my shift. We have lockers with opaque doors where we're allowed to store our things. When I'm in the office area, I leave mine unlocked for easy access, and I've started keeping a box of tampons in my locker. I've told my female coworkers if they're in a hurry and need a tampon, they're welcome to just open my locker when it's unlocked and I'm in the office and take one, no problem. I got called into my boss's office the other day because a male coworker of mine complained that me keeping tampons in my locker was disgusting, and he hated that he could see the box whenever my locker was open. My boss, a male, told me that some men were just really sensitive to this type of thing, and that I should try hiding them in a different type of box, so I wouldn't offend my coworkers. I asked what the point of that was, because my coworkers would see someone reaching into a crackers/Pop-Tarts, etc. box and taking out a tampon instead of food anyway. My boss got all huffy and told me that it was for the best and I needed to do it. Well, fine. I made a cover for my tampon box that said Mother Earth's Bloody Nutrient Bars with extra gooey nutritious filling, with a photo of a bloody bathtub, and placed it on the box. That was 2 days ago. And I saw my male coworker open my locker trying to be sneaky, and he paled when he read the box, got all angry, and I received an email from my box that my cover wasn't funny, and that I needed to take it down. So I emailed our HR person a copy of the emails, as well as a summary of what happened and photos of the locker, the box, and the cover. I also suggested that the male coworker sit somewhere where he didn't have a direct line of sight of my locker if it really offended him so much. She thought it was freaking hilarious, and said I followed my supervisor's instructions, and so I was fine. Nothing else has been done yet, and I'm mostly angry that my time was spent on something as stupid as this, and not on patient work. That is freaking hilarious. Talk about an epic story of malicious compliance. Ooh, boy. Alright, let's move on to the next story. Alright, this next story comes from r/IDontWorkHereLady, and it's titled, Me, I Don't Work Here. Tour Manager, Yes you do. You're now Backstage Security for Yellow Card. And it's posted by user M0V00MW. About 6 years ago on a Saturday night, I was hitting up a concert with some friends. Now this venue had 2 parts. The main part was a restaurant bar with a big outdoor venue that could fit about 1,500 people. And across the street was a second venue that could fit about 1,000. I got confused as to which venue I was heading to, accidentally parked in the main venue, saw my mistake, and walked across the street to the intended venue. Now I had worked late that day and couldn't go home and change, so I was wearing a black polo shirt and black pants. After my concert ends, I walk across the street to the main venue where I had parked. I try to take a shortcut around the building, only to find myself blocked by temporary fences and barricades. I look to my left and see a couple of tour buses. I walk towards those and manage to walk in between them. I find myself in a loading/staging area with some hospitality tents and people walking around, while I'm hearing a band playing really close by. I grab a snack and a drink and ask a guy how to leave, and he points to the right. The only way to the right is this long ramp that leads around the building. So I walk up and follow it around the building, literally to the side of the stage where the band Yellow Card was playing live. I'm talking 10 feet away from me tops. As I walk up, somewhat confused as to the scene in front of me, this woman with a clip cord and a headset walks up and yells/asks me where my lanyard was. I kind of shrug and say I don't have one. She gets pissed off and says don't move. She's back in 5 seconds with a lanyard with an all-access pass and tells me to put it on. I tried telling her that I don't think I'm supposed to be here, but she snaps and tells me to shut it. She says to stay right there to guard the ramp and to make sure no one accidentally tries to come that way. Literally what I had just done, and walks away. So I spend the next 30 minutes on the side of their stage while they're finishing their set. After their encore, I head back to the hospitality area, grab some food, have a few drinks, mingle with some folks, etc. After a while, I see Headset Lady walking around. So I walk up to her, hand her the lanyard, thank her for the drinks and show, and leave. This is what I call I Don't Work Here Lady gone right. This is like the best case scenario for an I Don't Work Here Lady story. I like it. Alright, the final story today comes from the subreddit r/IDontWorkHereLady, and is titled Never Wear Scrubs to an ER, and is posted by user Just Another Person ITW. This happened a few years ago when my late father's health was poor, and one day I left work early to meet my mom at the emergency room in the United States with my dad when he needed to be admitted. It's worth noting that I'm a veterinary technician, which is basically an animal nurse, and I wear scrubs as my work uniform. I realized my grave mistake when I strode purposely through the side entrance into the crowded waiting room and was immediately mobbed by a crowd of people who were demanding to be seen, complaining about their wait time, or more disturbingly needed immediate medical attention, but were left to wait. Apparently, they leave people sitting there bleeding in the waiting room. What the hell? Before I could even get out of the sentence that I wasn't a nurse, one particularly pussy woman shoved an elderly woman in a wheelchair, her mom I guess, at me, and said she needed help using the bathroom, and she wasn't going to do my job for me, and just walked off. Apparently, we were standing by the bathroom because another woman walked out of it and handed me her urine sample. I told her I wasn't a nurse, but she didn't seem to hear me. The poor woman in the wheelchair did, and she started laughing. She apologized, but she was very sweet and seemed really frail and weak, so I offered to help her anyway. I helped with my elderly father a lot, so I knew the drill. She basically just needed assistance getting in and out of the chair without falling. Eventually, I made my way back to the desk and found an actual nurse to hand off my patient to and the cup of urine. After that, I kept the change of clothes in the car. I learned my lesson. I'll tell you what, guys, OP has a lot of patience, and I respect her for that. Okay, guys, I decided to add a bonus fourth story for you guys today, and this one comes from r/malicious compliance and is posted by user tdrive1300, and is titled, Boss tells me to not buy lunch locally when I'm traveling. Kinda confusing title, but I'll explain. I still work for the same company, just used to do a different job. A few years ago, part of my job was to travel around and install/repair equipment that we either leased or sold to other companies. I enjoyed the traveling, but still didn't want to be on the road for longer than necessary. If I were driving within a couple hours of home, I would drive through lunch, get close to home, and get some fast food locally to take home and eat off the clock. I did this for a long time, and no one ever said anything to me, until one day I was called into HR with my boss and asked why I bought food on the company credit card in the same city where I live. I told them it was because I skipped lunch to get off the road sooner, and to get off the clock as to not waste their money or the customers. They told me that I'm not allowed to do that anywhere close to home. So I asked how far out was not considered local. They gave me some vague description, but I had an idea. Since I got paid the entire time I was traveling, I decided to comply and would not eat near my city. Rather than get fast food and eat at home, I would stop at restaurants, sometimes fast food, and sometimes a sit-down restaurant, take my time, eat, and then get back on the road. This made it so I was still using the company credit card to pay for my food, while still on the clock the entire time. Total, it probably added about an hour or so to my traveling, counting getting off the road, finding somewhere to eat, ordering, eating, and getting back on the road. I don't think they ever noticed, but they never mentioned it to me again. That's kinda sweet for OP. Not only is he able to go to restaurants and enjoy his meal, he's getting paid for an extra hour. That's like a win-win for OP. OP 1, business 0. And real quick, I put a poll out for you guys yesterday, and I asked if you guys would want some scary narration, maybe even creepypastas read. And it seemed to be about 50% do, 50% don't, maybe 45, 55%. But it seems really close, so I'm going to make a second channel for scary/creepypasta videos, and I'll let you guys know as soon as that's up and running. Thanks so much for watching this video. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you in the next one.